I love a good home project. I always have. There's something about the creative process that brings me an undescribable amount of joy, and my soul literally feeds off of it. Whether I'm working on a room makeover or a small DIY project, the feeling I get is the same, and I've always loved sharing those projects with the people around me. Long before I started sharing our home on YouTube, I was bombarding my friends and family on Facebook on a weekly basis with my countless projects. I've been coming up with crazy ideas for years. So if I told them right now that I had woken up Monday morning and decided to make our closet pretty, no one, and I mean no one, would even bat an eyelash. All I can say for myself is when inspiration strikes, I have no choice but to run with it. So with all of that being said, I've known that our closet was a problem for a while. In fact, I've been actively avoiding the topic like the plague for the last several months. It just seemed too daunting of a task and not as glamorous and fun as some of the other projects that I've taken on recently. So I just kept pushing it to the back burner, and the stuff kept piling up. But then one night, while lying in bed, scrolling Pinterest, I thought, why can't it be fun and glamorous? And just like that, I tumbled down the rabbit hole of inspiration. That has led us to today's video. As always, I hope that by the end, I will have encouraged and inspired you to look at your space just a little bit differently. So now that I've got everything cleaned off of that top shelf in the closet, I thought this would be a good opportunity to just kind of sit and chat for a second. One of the things that I have had the biggest problem with since starting this YouTube channel is documenting the beginning of a project. Because oftentimes the way my brain works is that I go down the rabbit hole of something and I get really focused on it, and I just start doing it. I just start working. It doesn't even occur to me to get out the camera to document anything for you guys. And so that's why sometimes when I do project videos, it kind of seems like I'm starting or bringing you guys in a little bit later in the process. That's because I'm still getting acclimated to bringing you guys along from the very beginning and remembering to slow things down a little bit to where I remember to get the camera out and start documenting that stuff. So with that being said, 24 hours ago, that closet looked a whole lot worse than it does right now. There was clothes piled up all over the floor. We have a ton of clothes that need to get donated, and they've literally just been piling up on the closet floor, and it was a disaster. There were lamps on the floor and big frames, things that have no business really being in our closet that need to find a different home. And so over the next day or two, while I'm waiting on some other supplies to get here, I'm just going to spend some time off camera going through all of those things and finding new homes for them. I just don't want to film all of that. I don't think it's all that interesting, honestly. I mean, y'all let me know if that's something you actually do want to see going forward, but I plan to do that off camera for this particular video. And then on Thursday, I am supposed to get a delivery of wallpaper in. I found a really pretty striped wallpaper. It looks almost a little bit distressed, but it's a black and kind of a cream color is what it looks like. And so I'm thinking that I can put that on the top and the bottom, and I think that would make such a pretty statement if you're scared of using wallpaper, I think closets are a great opportunity to try it out. You know, you won't need very much because it's a small space, and it's just a way to test out whether you like it or not. If it's a process you even enjoy doing, if it's just too much of a hassle, doing a closet is a good way to kind of test the waters with that. So obviously I've already used wallpaper in a few spots in our home, so I'm not really needing to test the waters, but I thought it would be really fun to just do something that would make a big statement when you open those doors to start with. And then I'm going to kind of find some new ways of organizing our clothes. I think I want to try to fold some of my sweatshirts and some of my husband's shirts that he doesn't wear as much, and kind of stack them in a really nice organized fashion on the shelves. I've also seen some clear acrylic dividers that I may purchase, and I think they would get here in time for the video, to kind of divide things up on that top shelf. I really want to take away some of the stuff that's being hung up right now because it's getting entirely too heavy up there, and I can already tell the rod is kind of doing this. So I will see you guys back here on Thursday when hopefully the wallpaper should arrive and those acrylic shelves if I end up ordering them. But needless to say, I think in the next couple of days this closet is going to look completely different in the best possible way. So I'll see y'all then. Bye. Good morning, friends. So one of the other ideas that I had for the closet was to add a small round table into the center of it. Our closet is really long, and since I'm freeing up a ton of the floor space, I thought it would be really cool to have sort of like a dressing table, if you will, inside of there. I would love to have one of those large walk-in closets where you have the big islands and think they're so lovely, but I don't have that kind of space. But I thought that I could kind of do something similar within the scope of what my closet can hold by putting in a small round table. And I do have an extra one in the garage. It's a farmhouse industrial style, so clearly style-wise that doesn't actually work for what I want to do, but it is the right size. So my plan is to do exactly what I did in the dining room and create a tablecloth for it out of canvas drop cloth. So I bought another big one for $10 at Harbor Freight yesterday. I've washed it and dried it. And then I picked up some more of this fringe. This is the same type of fringe that I used on the table in the dining room, only this one is more of a white color. The trim in there is kind of an ivory, so I wanted to do something just a tad bit different. So all I'm going to do is cut out the circle that I need out of the drop cloth and then simply hot glue this fringe to the bottoms of it. It's the easiest project you can possibly do. There's no sewing involved. Literally anybody can do this, and it's such an easy way to transform a table that's not your style anymore and make it really elegant, really lovely. To save time, I ended up grabbing the fabric that I had cut for the table on the porch, and I'm just laying that on top of the drop cloth. Both tables are roughly the same size, so this should be a good template. I don't need the edges to be absolutely perfect since I will be gluing the fringe on here in a minute. So I'm just eyeballing this as best I can right now. That's another reason that I really love this project. The fringe detail not only adds to the charm, but it's also really forgiving and can camouflage any rough cuts that might happen along the way. So this is the table that I was telling y'all about that was in the garage. It's very farmhouse industrial. It's got that metal tripod base with a big wood top. About 10 years ago, this was very much my style. Not so much anymore. So what I want to do is just kind of do a dry fit of the tablecloth to make sure that the length is good and that I don't need to cut anything else off before I hot glue the fringe on. Wallpaper day has finally arrived. So while I'm waiting for the mail to get here, I decided to go ahead and get everything that is hanging up out of the closet. This way, once it gets here, I'll be ready to go. I did end up buying the acrylic shelf dividers as well, so I think those are going to be a big help, especially with a lot of my husband's clothes. He has more shirts than he knows what to do with, and I think having a lot of the short sleeve ones, especially folded nicely and stacked, he'll actually be able to see what he has a little bit easier. Plus, it's going to take a lot of pressure off of the rod. Okay, so wallpaper is finally here. I swear it was never gonna come. Oh, I love it. I love it. So it has this sort of linen looking texture to it, and it's kind of a black and a cream color, but it looks really distressed. So it's not just like straight black and white, which I didn't really want that. I wanted it to feel a little bit more, I don't know, aged, if that makes sense. So I am so, oh, and it's even got kind of a texture to it, which is even better. Yeah, I really like that. So I think this is gonna end up being really pretty. I did the math as best I could, and I actually think I may just be a little bit short. So if that's the case, I'll probably just kind of leave this left-hand side, let that be the side that doesn't quite get covered, and then I can go back and buy some more. So I got everything hung up with the exception of one last panel over here on my husband's side. I used every square inch of that roll that I had, and it just was barely not enough. So I'm gonna go ahead and order one more roll, but as far as the big reveal is concerned, it'll be okay. I'll just kind of put all my husband's stuff up on that end, and y'all will barely even notice that there's not a panel there. But I did also want to share with you guys that I did go ahead and purchase those acrylic dividers off of Amazon, and they came in today as well. I think these are going to be such a cool way to lessen the amount of stuff that we have to hang on the actual rod. I've already like folded up sweatshirts, a bunch of my husband's short sleeve shirts. I think he forgot how much stuff he had because it was just all cramped into like onto the rod. So now that everything can be neatly folded, he can clearly see everything much easier now once I get everything put up. So basically just like that. And then we can just stack things in between them, and I think it's going to be a much better solution for this closet. I have found that if I make spaces pretty, even spaces like a closet, I'm far more likely to keep them neat and tidy. This is by no means a magic pill, of course, for my cleaning habits, but it really does help overall. My vision for this closet was to make it feel like a dressing room, which may sound silly because it really isn't even a walk-in closet, but now when I open the doors and look at this space, it feels just a little bit luxurious and a little bit fancy. I'm not an overly fussy girl, and I don't have a ton of clothes or jewelry or tons of handbags, but now that this space is completely decluttered, my mind is already wandering to small ways that I can add to what I've done this week to maybe accommodate a couple extra things. Really, this could just be the beginning for this closet.